Okay, guys, I'm gonna rant for a minute. I know I haven't been on here in a long time, but oh my gosh, I have a lot on my mind. Okay, so, for a long time, I agreed with the idea that bad representation, or negative representation, was bad representation. This falls under the ideas of, like, a trans person being a prostitute, or a disabled person being evil, or any negative, technically, representation you can think of, such as a trans person being a criminal, blah, 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 blah. Yes, for a long time I thought this. I use those examples because they will come important later. But for a long time I agreed with this. It makes sense, right? Like, negative representation of a sort of thing could give people the idea that that's how they all are, how people with disabilities all are. In reality, they aren't, But I've been thinking about this because I'm watching Legend of Korra right now. I'm not giving any spoilers away, there's a character in it who has no arms, and she's a waterbender, and she's evil, and super powerful. And, I was watching this and I was like, she's super cool. Like, she can waterbend. She basically uses the water as her arms. Okay, that might be a bit spoilers. Whatever. Anyway. Sorry. Anyway, I was watching that and I thought about that idea. Because the other day I was with my friend and we were watching Bob's Burgers. Which, it's a funny show. But we were watching it and they had, transvestite prostitutes on it. I say that because that's what they called themselves on the show, so I'm more quoting than if you think it's offensive. I'm sorry if you think it's offensive. But they're making some transphobic jokes. And that wasn't really okay. And so I was thinking about it in that context, and I was like, that kind of representation isn't very good because it is definitely making fun of this group of people. And I don't think that's really okay. That's to me like making rape jokes and jokes about people's ethnicity. I don't think that's okay. But if they had just been trans prostitutes and the jokes weren't made and that was just part of their character instead of being the entirety of their character, which was, then that wouldn't inherently be bad, I think. Just like Laverne Cox in Orange is the New Black. She's a criminal. But her character is not completely based around the fact that her character is trans. It just happens to be part of her. And it's also like in the Avatar. I'm the character in Korra right now. She is disabled. And she is evil. But she's not evil because she's disabled. She just is evil and also happens to be disabled. And I've never seen this show, but the American Horror Story, I'm pretty sure they kill people? I don't know. But, they're represented as freaks, the people in that. But it's also, representation. And it's not... I don't agree with. I guess what I'm trying to say, overall, is that the idea that negative representation is inherently bad representation, I don't agree with that. I agree that it can be bad, for instance, in the Bob's Burgers episode I watched, but it is not inherently bad. In the new Batgirl comics, there's one of Batgirl's best friends is trans, but there's also an evil trans person, and that's just equal. It's like, I understand where people are coming from when they say negative representation is bad representation. I used to believe that. But if that's true, then we don't actually want equality. You get what I'm saying? I hope you get what I'm saying. Because I've been thinking about this a lot now. Because in reality, if we say all negative representation is bad representation, then we are actually cutting people off from opportunities, such as acting and even people writing stories, and because, it's not. it's representation. And unless it is making fun of the aspect that is being represented, or it's making them their entire character trait, such as the characters on Bob's Burgers, who their entire character was that they were trans prostitutes, then that's not okay. That's not accurate. That's not real. Real representation is like Laverne Cox's character in Orange is the New Black. She's a criminal, but she's also a person who happens to be trans. It's not the leading part of her character. It is important because, like, it's important because it's part of her. It's still important. But it's not what makes it what makes her a bad person. If that makes sense. That last sentence didn't really make sense. It's her being trans has nothing to do with her being a criminal. Except maybe that she stole some stuff to help the process. But that's also, like, real because, like, there are people who probably steal things to get... Oh, gosh. Oh, like in that one show, Breaking Bad. Yeah. Like, he cooks meth, and he has cancer. Now, he does cook meth because he has cancer and wants to provide for his family. But him having cancer, I don't think, I've never seen this show, isn't the leading part of his character. And though cancer isn't really underrepresented, I think. That's actually something I don't know. You should tell me. Even though cancer isn't something that is inherently represented, it's not a bad representation that he cooks meth because of his cancer. Or to help his cancer. This last bit's making no sense. I might edit it out. Anyway, overall, what I'm trying to say is negative representation does not automatically mean bad representation. If we think about it like that, we're not thinking about the world in reality, and we're not thinking about true equality in the future. So, yeah, like, as long as you're not making fun of a character and showing it in a good way, because, like, if you're just making fun of a character, but then it's shown in a bad way later that they were being made fun of, and that's a bad thing, like, okay, ignore that part too. I'm making no sense. Anyway, any representation is good representation as long as it does not make fun of the aspect that is being represented, such as being trans, disabled, anything else under the LGBT, having a mental, emotional disability. Like, any representation is good. And we should think more about how we want the future to be, where everything's equal, which would have good and bad representation. Or negative and positive, whichever. But that's just my rant for today. You don't have to watch everything of this video. Yeah. Thank you for letting me rant. I love you guys. Whew. I feel a lot better now. Bye!